Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're doing good. So first off, this update is very much one of those quiet but important patches. It's not adding a massive new mode or anything wild like that, but it's cleaning up a lot of little frustrations that players have been feeling ever since the Rogue Protocol stuff landed. If you've been playing consistently, you've probably noticed some odd behavior here and there. Things that didn't totally break the game, but definitely chipped away at the experience. This patch is clearly focused on smoothing those edges out. One of the nicest quality of life changes is in the loadout section. If you ever unlocked a new weapon and thought, okay, but how am I actually supposed to use this thing properly? You're not alone. The scattergun, rotary cannon, and the semi-automatic rifle now have proper instructional videos built right into the menu. And the same goes for grenades. This is huge for newer players and honestly still helpful for veterans who want to squeeze every bit of efficiency out of their builds. Instead of guessing how a weapon is meant to shine, the game finally explains it visually, which feels long overdue. Cosmetics also got some love here, especially when it comes to clipping issues. A big one people noticed was how certain gloves and outfits would awkwardly clip through two-handed weapons. It didn't affect gameplay, but visually it could pull you right out of the moment, especially if you care about how your character looks while clearing a shift. Those issues have been cleaned up, and it makes everything feel more polished when you're running around fully geared up. Enemy balance saw a small but meaningful tweak too. The Hissbreaker enemy now takes increased damage from armor-piercing weapons. This is interesting because it subtly pushes players toward more thoughtful loadout choices rather than just raw damage output. If you've ever felt like those enemies were just soaking up bullets for way too long, this change should make encounters feel more fair without making them trivial. On the UI and multiplayer side, there were several fixes that address things that could really mess with your flow. Party hosts had an issue where changing party privacy wouldn't actually work as intended, which could be frustrating when you're trying to manage who joins your session. That's now fixed. The ping system also had a bug where outlines would disappear, making communication harder in hectic moments, and the purchase button in requisitions sometimes didn't show up properly. All of that has been addressed, and while these sound minor on their own, together they make the game feel far less clunky. Tutorial progression was another pain point for some players. If you lost connection at the wrong moment or reconnected a controller mid-tutorial, you could end up completely stuck, unable to move forward or even start a crisis. That's the kind of bug that can straight up stop someone from playing, so it's great to see that resolved. Controller reconnect issues in general seem more stable now, which is a relief for console players especially. Now, Endless Shift players probably got the biggest chunk of fixes here. There was a bug where corruption levels could cap out incorrectly at 5, which obviously undermines the entire scaling challenge of that mode. That's been fixed, and progression should now behave as intended. Enhancements like Backdraft and Stingy were also not always working right, especially when it came to rerolls. The first reroll is supposed to be free, and now it actually is. If you've ever felt like the game cheated you there, you weren't imagining it. Late joining players in Endless Shift also ran into problems where they couldn't properly select weapons, which is especially rough in a mode that demands flexibility. That issue has been cleaned up, along with several text alignment and localization problems that made menus look messy or confusing in certain languages. There was even a rare visual bug where a character could appear downed while being healed at the same time, which was more confusing than anything, but definitely not intended. That's gone now too. All in all, this update feels like Remedy going through player feedback line by line and knocking out the stuff that disrupts immersion and momentum. Nothing here screams headline feature, but when you stack all these fixes together, the game just feels better to play. Menus behave, enemies react more logically to certain weapons, tutorials don't trap you, and Endless Shift finally works the way it was always meant to. That's the kind of update that doesn't necessarily get shouted from the rooftops, but you feel it the moment you boot the game up and everything just works the way you expect it to. And honestly, those are sometimes the most important updates of all.